They got betrayed by Nintendo on a partnership and said, "Screw it, we can make our own." This is a story of a man who defies his boss, and just to work on something that he saw potential, he went from almost zero to essentially running the whole Sony computer. Back in the mid-1980s, a time when arcade games were all the rage and home consoles were starting to make waves, a guy named Ken Kutaragi, who worked at Sony, saw something special. He was at home, watching his daughter play with her Nintendo console, and it hit him. Video games were about to take over the world. This wasn't just a passing thought. It was a light bulb moment that would push him to do something big. Ken's first big move into the gaming world was kind of sneaky. He made a deal with Nintendo to work on a fancy sound chip for their next big thing, the Super Nintendo, without telling his bosses at Sony. This was a risky play that could have gotten him fired. But when the big boss at Sony, a guy named Norio Oga, found out, he wasn't mad. In fact, he was impressed by Ken's work and let him stay on the job. This sound chip turned out to be something gamers loved, and it put Ken on the map in the gaming world. Riding high on this success, Sony and Nintendo started talking about making a new gaming system together that would use CDs instead of the usual game cartridges. CDs could hold a lot more data, meaning games could be bigger and better. But not everyone was on board with this idea. Some folks at Sony thought video games were just a fad, and some at Nintendo weren't keen on ditching cartridges for CDs. Despite these doubts, Ken began working on a prototype for this new system, which they were calling the PlayStation. But then, out of the blue, Nintendo backed out and decided to team up with Philips instead, leaving Sony out in the cold. This could have been the end of the road for Ken's big idea, but he didn't give up. He even tried to team up with Sega, who was Nintendo's main competition at the time. They talked about making a CD-based console together, but something about it didn't feel right to Ken, so he decided to walk away. This is where Ken's real challenge began. He believed Sony could make its own gaming console even without Nintendo or Sega. He just had to convince the top brass at Sony, so he set up a meeting with Oga, the same guy who had backed him before. Ken talked about how Nintendo had double-crossed them and said Sony could do better on its own. Oga, feeling the sting of Nintendo's betrayal and inspired by Ken's passion, gave him the thumbs up to go ahead. And so the PlayStation project was born. Ken and his team worked tirelessly, and in December 1994, the PlayStation hit the market in Japan, followed by a US launch in September 1995. It was a game changer, selling over 102 million units worldwide and beating out competitors like the Nintendo 64 and Sega Saturn by a long shot. Sony had become a heavyweight in the gaming world, all thanks to Ken's vision and perseverance. But the story doesn't stop there. Even with the PlayStation's massive success, the road ahead wasn't easy. As they started thinking about the next version, the PlayStation 2, Ken found himself in secret talks with Microsoft about teaming up on a new gaming console. These talks didn't go anywhere, and soon after, Microsoft jumped into the console war with its Xbox, kicking off a whole new rivalry. Looking back, Sony's decision to go it alone with the PlayStation turned out to be a brilliant move. It changed the gaming landscape forever and showed that with a bit of vision and a lot of determination, even the biggest dreams can come true. This journey, from a simple idea, inspired by a child's playtime, to reshaping the world of video games, is a testament to thinking big and not giving up, even when the odds are stacked against you. That's it. If you haven't already, please consider to subscribe and give us a like if you found this content informative. And remember, you can always leave your comments and suggestions down below. If you want more content like this, or if you have any specific topic you'd like us to cover in the future, please let us know. Your input shapes the direction of this channel. You may also want to check our video, 10 famous celebrities who go for rehabilitation, and the chocolate history on Valentine's Day. Thank you for watching.